The Weekly Warm Pipe.
What's up, Jay? Hey, I feel like I've been on a 90s kick. I've been watching the X-Files, and then we're trying to get a topic for this, and you're like, let's do 90s comedies.
Hey, you know what, though? You got to give me some credit. That was the fastest I think we've ever made a decision on what we're doing.
Right, because usually we get our topics on, like, Monday or so. We record on Wednesdays. The episode comes out Saturday, and we, like, don't brainstorm anything, and then Monday rolls around, and I'm like, hey, what are we doing for, like, a topic so I can maybe post something so people could get some feedback going?
Yeah, this just happened to pop in my head, and I was like, you know what? I like that. And Russ was like, bet. So we just went with it.
Right, because I was like, do you want to do movies or, like, TV shows? We might have talked about TV shows before, or just 90s TV shows in general. Not, I mean, we could always do another top 10 90s action movies,
That's right.
90s romance. I don't know what kind of
Bromance.
movie romances. But basically, me and Jay got our own list of top 10 90s movies that stood out in our mind that we watched maybe a few times in no particular order. Just kind of jotted these down.
And I bet we will agree on at least 5 of these. I'm calling out. We're going to pick 5 of the same movies.
It very well could be possible 5. Yeah. We did reach out to you guys as well. So later in the episode, we'll check out and see what you guys said. There were a few on there, and I was like, I do want to include this one, but I'll pass on it. So we'll see. We'll see if we match up.
I hate this camera, Russ.
Did you freeze up again, Jay?
I froze.
Do the old restart on there.
That's what I did. So let's just keep talking though.
Fair enough. I'll jump into one of mine, which it was on the little promo thing that I posted up there. And in 1992, we got Wayne's World. Party time. Excellent.
Excellent.
What's funny is I don't think I remember seeing the skits on SNL before I saw the movie. Like, I don't even know how I assume I probably saw the cover and it looked funny, and I got it at Blockbuster Video and rented it, and watched it with, like, my mom or maybe my dad. And I don't know, just the premise of it, that they were musicians, and I kind of, like, wanted to play guitar, so
Right.
I probably was like, okay, this movie could be pretty cool. And I thought it was funny and great, and I ended up getting also the soundtrack to it. I have it on cassette, and it's a fantastic soundtrack. I played it a whole bunch, and I will say my VHS tape for the movie, I think I played it so much that it actually, like, wore down.
You wore it out.
Yeah.
The one thing that I remember the most about it was my brother was a big fan of Wayne's World, and it was just it was more endearing to me also because my brother's name just happens to be Wayne.
Oh, nice.
So, like, I don't know, for some reason that gave me like another connection with it. But I remember watching Wayne's World at the theaters and just thinking it was hilarious. And because my brother was older, he could take me to stuff like that. So that was
Right, because, like, there are some scenes in it where, like, Garth is, like, daydreaming about dating the blonde chick and all
Yep.
this, where you're like, okay, it's kind of edgy, like, if
Right.
a younger kid's seeing it. But it appeals to other, where they're like, they're fantasizing over the Stratocaster in the window, and like, oh, and it's like, oh, no playing Stairway to Heaven. You're like, what is that? Like, that was, one of the earlier songs I've learned on guitar. You learn Smoke in the Water, like, Stairway to
Yeah.
Heaven. There's so many great parts of it. The freaking car scene was amazing when they, pick everyone up and they're driving along,
Shalaleo.
right?
Yeah.
So many quotable lines in the movie, and everything just stands out. And I've seen so many people dress as them, for like Halloween. It's like a easy outfit where it's you're
Especially
just like
with 2 people.
T-shirt, like hat, like you can get a wig if you need it or whatever. It's so good.
I just remember swing.
Right. Oh, yep. You see a lady, think she's nice. Swing.
But yeah, Mike Myers was hilarious. I loved those movies.
For sure. And then I even went on like with was it Dana Carey? I
Yeah,
think the other
Harvey, right?
Harvey. I loved his comedy special that he has. He does a whole comedy like special, must have been on Comedy Central or something like that. And he has a whole bit about he's like playing music during it, and he has a piano going. He has a skit about chopping broccoli.
Yeah,
You guys know it. It's like it's hilarious. But great movie, Wayne's World had to be on the list for 90s comedies for sure.
that's right. I'm just gonna read the list as I wrote them or put them on my phone. We're going late '90s. Stifler's Mom, American Pie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That
Does that
that
make
had
your
to make
list?
my list. Yeah.
Uh, we have one. Um, but yeah, it was the first time that I'd ever seen like a teen movie. Like like this was like the beginning of this genre of like trashy teen films.
Right.
And everybody loved Stifler. He was like this rude dude, like, jock. Uh only one thing on his mind, if you've seen the movie, you know what it is. It's getting with the ladies. And but yeah, there was just so much like sexual humor in it too. Jason Biggs, obviously, um, like trying to like hook up with girls, and he's
Well,
like,
it's like it's the
it's
relatable aspect, I think, because
right.
like it came out when I was in high school,
Yeah,
and everything was like the characters are so
they
relatable,
were.
and you're like, oh yeah, like that's me. Like maybe you don't talk to girls that much, and you
Right.
oh who's this like foreign exchange student? They don't know
Yeah.
I'm a loser. Like maybe I can get with this person.
Nadia, or whatever
Right.
her name was.
I think it was Nadia. Yeah. Um, and so many. I feel like that movie helped I want to say helped, but made like so many things like
Like
uh,
pop culture.
pop culture. What? Yeah, like
Like once I went to band camp,
pave the way. Yeah, Bandcamp thing,
band
the
nerds are
milk
now,
thing. Like
you're looking for them, trying to find the band nerds because they're the
right.
freaks.
So it's like and I can't believe they made so many sequels and
Yeah, like
kept it
American
going.
Pie 2, American Wedding. Oh, I have to mention this because of the shirt. Blink 182 was in American
That's
Pie.
right. Blink was in there playing, and they had
Go
for
Trig Boy, go Trig Boy.
the reason they had a monkey was
Uh,
like at their practice.
no clue.
But I always thought that was awesome too. That should be another episode, like bands and movies.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing Good Charlotte in like 90s movies.
Tom
And
DeLonge was in Idle Hands.
oh, was he?
Yeah, he was like he was like a burger chef or something like that.
Okay. So that's like another thing where like band members becomes actors other than the actual band being in the movie. Um yeah, I mean it just hit so well with like the timing that it came out, you know? It was just enough edginess, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, it was cool for sure. American Pie
So
definitely's got to make the
edgy.
list. All right, next on my list, 1994, Dumb and Dumber.
We have a match.
Yeah, figured I got to get some Jim Carrey on there. He has tons of movies in the 90s, but this one's certainly a classic for sure. Another so many
Well, here's the thing that's
quotable
so
lines.
amazing about Dumb and Dumber.
Okay,
Jim Carrey, is going to be hilarious,
right.
but Jeff Daniels is equally as funny,
Oh yeah,
in my opinion. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that would have been an intimidating role to take for an actor because Jim Carrey was going to be a hero, a winner, hit it out of the park no matter what.
right.
But to have to act along beside him and like create your own personality, he nailed it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, I never saw the later ones. They made Dumb and Dumber, right?
Right.
And then I think they made one more after that that didn't have either of them in it.
Yeah, they had like Dumb and Dumber or something like that. And it was like I don't even know who the actors were, but they were like younger versions of
Right.
Harry and Marv. Or sorry,
But
not Harry and Marv. That's the burglars from Home Alone. What are their
yeah, I'm not
names?
yeah, no, I'm trying to
Lloyd
remember
and
that's right.
Lloyd Christmas. Did you ever notice that he was gonna marry Mary Swanson and her name would have been Merry Christmas?
Oh, how about that little Easter egg? I always like the scene where they're on the scooter driving,
Oh, yeah, everybody
and
loves
he's like,
that.
"I gotta go to the bathroom." "Just go, man."
It's warmer out than it is in. I love it when they finally get to stop. He's like, "My hands are freezing." He's like, "Here, take these extra gloves." He's like, "You have extra gloves?" He's like, "It's the Rockies."
I wonder how much of that was, like,
Ad lib.
in ad lib, improv, yeah. I bet
Uh,
you there's a lot of, like, funny extra takes.
It's so hard to know.
Like, I don't think I have the DVD, but I wonder if they included any of that, like, as extras.
Oh, I'm sure. There's
Or I'm
gotta be
sure there's
some
clips on the YouTubes, right?
there's gotta be something out there, right?
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Alright. So the next one on my list, won't surprise me if it's on yours,
Let's see.
Tommy Boy.
Ooh, it did not make my list. I went with a different one.
Gotcha. But obviously we got Chris Farley, you know, uh, the
Absolutely.
the dude is hilarious. Basically he inherits his dad's business. His dad passes away.
Right, it's like a car is it a car sales? They're selling cars or fixing cars or something?
Breaks.
Right. Brakes for
Isn't
car.
it
I knew it's
breaks?
something car related, I think, yeah.
So like this whole time he's like trying to get this sales pitch down and he's just blowing it. And like the funniest scene in my opinion is when he's like he takes this like little piece of bread or something. He's like, "You take your sale and you love it, and you and then you kill it. You killed your sale." He like shreds it all apart. But Chris Farley is like classic overactor, but like
Oh, yeah.
it always worked for him.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I always get certain movies confused. Isn't that the one with the fat guy in a little coat?
Yeah, fat guy in a little coat. Yeah.
David Spade's like,
Who's your favorite?
take your jacket
Who
off."
who's your favorite little rascal, Spanky? But yeah, Tommy Boy's amazing. Chris Farley knocks it out of the park, and golly, I can't think of the name of the dude that's his sidekick right now. It's not Dana Carvey, but he's, like, similar to Dana Carvey.
Oh, yeah, I just said his name, now it's escaping me.
Yeah,
Ah. Everyone's yelling at us through their microphones.
but the other guy, yeah.
The other guy,
Can see his face, so David Spade.
David Spade. Let's see, moving on to my list. These are probably gonna make most people's 90s, movies. I guess I'll go in order, so I'll flip how it is, but 1994, we got Clerks.
Okay, see, those are movies I never really got into.
Okay. The only reason I ended up seeing those was my friend ended up getting the VHS. I heard nothing about it. I think, Clerks was so low budget at the time. I'm not even sure how my friend got the tape for it. Maybe he had sent away somehow and got it. But we watched it, and I thought it was very interesting because it was in black and white.
Right.
And I'm like, "What is this?" And
How could this be
very
good?
right. How can this be good? And like, no clue what to expect. And it's a comedy, and it's got some raunchy humor in it.
Right.
Um, but funny scenes and works so well, being so low budget. And
Yeah.
then it kind of kickstarted the career for you know pretty much everyone in that movie.
The
Went on to do
first
other movies with
the
Kevin
first
Smith.
I'd ever heard of those guys was when they came out with Jay and Silent Bob's
Oh,
Revenge or
no kidding.
Strike Back or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd never knew who they were until that movie came out,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. I remember seeing that.
Because then you would, seeing that, there's so many Easter eggs in it that you yourself probably didn't get because you didn't see the other movies. Where
Right,
you're like,
yep,
oh, that's funny of that because of this. They said this.
right.
But yeah, it was classic. We watched it a few times, me and my buddy. Um, and Jane Silent Bob characters, we were like, okay, like it's pretty great. They've obviously gone on plenty more movies and done shows and everything. So
Yeah,
Clerks.
there you go. Alright, this is the king of stand-up comedy was in this movie, Half Baked with Dave Chappelle.
I was gonna put that on the list. I did not though. That's a good one.
Abba Zabba, you're my only friend. I freaking love that movie. And that I don't know this one actor's name, but he goes to jail and he's like talking to himself in the mirror. He's like, "You're not a man, or you're not a fish. You're a man." And what was that? But do you remember that guy? He ends up going to jail.
I'm trying to remember. No, was he part of the crew? Wasn't it's
Yeah,
like three of them?
yeah. So remember, they're at the beginning of the movie. They give him this like laundry list of of snacks, and
Yeah,
the one guy's like, "Funyuns, man, funyuns and water," you know.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so the guy goes out and he's like talking to this horse, and he's all high, and he's like, "You want some popcorn to make your teeth go pop 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 pop," you know. So he's talking to this horse, and then I guess the horse dies. So
Oh,
they take
right, because he has like an allergy.
yeah, so yeah, he feeds him popcorn or something. So then the guy goes to jail, and
Yes, now, yeah, I'm looking at the.
so they're trying to raise money to get him out of jail. So they start the drug company, Mr. Nice Guy or whatever it's called.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but
Kenny is the character.
Kitty, yeah, but I just
Harlan Williams.
and that's the famous "Who's coming with me, man? Who's coming?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's like you're
You're
cool.
cool. I'm out." Yeah,
That one was great. What was the other line he did? With the Funyuns. Oh, when he was talking to the guy on the couch, like the random guy sleeping on the couch.
yeah,
Hey, guy on the couch.
yeah, yeah. Remember when they asked him to like hit that bong, and he goes, or that bowl, he hits, he just barely coughs, and they're all coughing their head off, and he goes back. He just like shakes his head, goes
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
sleep. He's like a pro.
What's funny is like I always watched all those movies, and it's like I never smoked ever or tried it or whatever, but I always thought those were like hilarious movies, and I was like, okay, like I dig it.
Yeah, me either,
Uh,
Russ. I didn't do those things either.
that's right. No stuff.
Don't you do that.
The devil's lettuce.
That's right. You never know. You'll end up on some second-rate podcast if you do that stuff.
Moving on. What do we got here? So I added the other movie came out a year later, 1995. Definitely one of my favorite movies, and that's Mallrats.
Okay, yeah, so you really dug those guys.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, this is like a new. Well, the main thing with this one was like the soundtrack was amazing. What they had on there, and I was a big Bush fan, and
Mhm.
Bush had a song called "Bubbles" on that soundtrack, which wasn't on any of their albums.
There you go.
So I had to get the soundtrack, and I was like, well, got to see the movie too, see where they, they play the song or whatever. And
So Mallrats is pretty good?
yeah, I mean,
I need to
again,
watch that.
it's almost what's funny because it has them playing. I watched an interview when they're talking about doing the movie. It's basically about a group of kids or whatever going to the mall. This this one kid ends up like breaking with his girlfriend who he was going to propose to, and then ends up going on a dating show that's at the mall.
Oh, lord.
Whole bunch of stuff happens. But
Shenanigans.
there was a part he wakes up and then he's in his bed and he's like looking around and then he grabs a Sega Genesis controller and then you see him unpause a game and he's playing a hockey game
Sick.
on the TV and his girlfriend's with him and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm finished my game." He's like, "It's whatever quarter with the Reds and some other team.
The Reds? The Red Wings?
I think the Red Wings, yeah." Um, but what it was, Kevin Smith was talking about they were supposed to have like a certain new hockey game coming out, I think for Sega Saturn,
Okay.
and something got mixed up or they like didn't finish the game or whatever. So they had to like overlay footage of an older Sega
Hockey
hockey
game.
game
That's
in it.
cool.
Yeah. But I was
That's
like, oh,
funny.
but it's neat, seeing that, like, oh, he's playing Sega Genesis. Like, I like video games too. And then, they go to the mall and you're like, oh, yeah, I go and hang out at the mall as a kid,
Yeah. Mall's
which is,
rad.
which is a dying thing
I
nowadays.
know. God, I hope the one in Greenville doesn't die. I love our mall. It's
There's two proposals going up for malls in my area to possibly turn into like condos or something where I'm like, are they Are they keeping the mall and
You
just
need to
making
go film them,
condos?
Russ. Get in there and film them before they're gone.
That's true. Do like walkthroughs or whatever.
Yeah, you gotta do it, dude. I
Because
filmed
one of them
ours.
in Milford, they have a Target attached to it and a Dave& and Buster's,
Yeah.
where I'm like, if they knock down the mall, the Target's okay because it just has an opening that
Mhm.
goes into the mall.
Right.
But I'm like, the Dave& and Buster's is kinda attached to the mall, so I'm like, they would have to, like, I don't know, seal off the mall side, then knock down the rest of the mall
Yeah.
and have it be a standalone building.
We used to have 2 malls in Greenville. We had the Haywood Mall and the Greenville Mall. And the Greenville Mall actually, there was 3. There was the McAllister Mall. The McAllister Mall, they've repurposed into a university center of, like, a lot of local universities for, like, I guess, classes you can take, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, remotely. And
Oh,
then,
okay.
uh, and then the Greenville Mall is completely defunct. They just tore it down, and then the Haywood Mall is all that's left, and that mall's been I remember going to that mall since 1988, and it's I just love that mall. I hope it never goes away, but the Sears is gone. That's really sad.
Yeah, yeah, we had lost our Sears quite a bit ago. I think what's left there, JCPenney, I
Yeah.
think might be still holding on.
We have JCPenney's, Macy's, and something else, but
So, Mall Rats, check it out if you haven't already.
yeah. Alright, so here's one that you might have on your list. I'm gonna say that about all these. Um, Happy Gilmore
Let's see, did that one make my
with
list?
Adam Sandler.
That one is on my list, yes.
There we go.
There was many Adam Sandler movies I wanted to choose.
But
I'm like
Happy Gilmore's the best.
I was like, "There's so many," and, like, I don't wanna pick more than one, so I went with, yes, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, so some of my favorite things about Happy Gilmore is the fight with Bob Barker. "The price is wrong, Bob." They're fighting Bob Barker. Just the fact that he wears, like, sweatpants and, like, a hockey jersey,
Right,
and
right.
he just, like he can just hammer that ball, but he puts like he's holding a hockey stick, so I love that, and it actually has a hockey blade on it. Um, and then, I love the love scene where they're, like, ice skating and that one guy's singing "Endless Love" or whatever.
Right, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, we
Um,
definitely watched this one a ton with me and my friend. Uh, so many great scenes, like, hi his coach there gets attacked by, like, the alligator.
yeah, oh, yeah, and
Like
he loses his arm, Chubbs.
yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "That's you took Chubbs' arm," and he's got, like, that big wooden hand, it looks so ridiculous.
Yeah, 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 so fake.
What about when he's, like, getting hit with those baseballs? He's like, "Ugh, ugh," and this kid gets in and, like, one knocks him over.
Yeah, I mean, the whole premise is if you guys haven't seen it, his grandmother is gonna end up losing her house.
Right, so he's
And
trying
they're
to win
like
prize money.
and I think they're like repossessing some of her furniture. There's like movers or something outside. So like there was some golf clubs and like they're farting around with them. So
Yep,
then they bet Adam Sandler like, "Oh, I bet you can't hit this house or whatever."
right.
And so he goes up and like bam, nails it like with this
Breaks like a window, right?
right.
And
Um
the
I would
next
say it
time
was
some dude, like, walks up and he ends up knocking the guy off the roof.
right. I did see come up like on like a TikTok or something where Adam Sandler um did the putt like he does or tee off or whatever where he's runs up to it and whacks the ball. He's like, "This is for you, Shooter McGavin."
Yeah,
He's like, "Still got it."
that's so funny. But, yeah, there's so many good parts of that. Oh, I like it when the grandma's, like, got the kiss face on, like the Gene Simmons mask with the big tongue.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. When he's having the daydream.
Yeah. Oh, Ben Stiller has a really funny part in that movie.
I'm trying to remember. Was he in the hospital?
So
I'm trying or
he was at, like, the nursing home,
yes.
and he was like, "You see that little lady over there? I can take care of her for free," or whatever he says. And then, so he's like, "Alright, grandmother, gonna take good care of you, I'll try to get you out here soon." And she's like, "Okay." And, and as soon as he leaves, she's like, "Could I trouble you for a nice glass of warm milk?" And he's like, "You could trouble me for a nice warm glass of shut the hell up." And I always thought that was, like, the funniest line.
Well, I think too. I'm trying to remember. They brought back that character in a recent Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, really?
If you watched Hubie Halloween,
No.
it was like a Halloween movie with Adam Sandler, and there's like mental institution or something,
Oh, and that
and
guy's there?
that guy's there, the Ben Stiller, like, Warden-ish or whatever
Yeah,
character is in there, so you're like, "Oh, cool throwback."
that's hilarious.
But, yeah, Happy Gilmore, definitely a fun one. I probably, tried my hand at golf after seeing that movie. Of course, we all ended up went to the driving range and tried to run up and swing and hit the ball.
I got a natural swing, I've been told.
Okay.
Yeah, I can with a 7 iron, I can crush one.
Probably a lot of it's probably more, golf, what would you call them? Golf fields, I guess, golf
Golf
places,
courses?
golf courses in South Carolina than
Yeah,
here in
we got a
Connecticut.
few. We got a few.
Alright, so that was number 6 on my list, so I'll go number 5.
Okay.
I don't know if those make your list, but I always enjoyed this. My mom ended up watching this movie, so I watched it. It came out in 1992, and that's, My Cousin Vinny
My cousin Vinny. I
with
don't
Joe
have it on my
Pesci.
list, but I think I've seen it once.
So, essentially, Joe Pesci plays a lawyer from Jersey. I'm pretty sure it's Jersey. It's either Jersey or New York, 'cause he's got an accent, and they're taking a trip. Are they taking it? No, his cousins are, like, down south taking a trip, and someone ends up robbing a convenience store and speds away in a similar car like them. So they get busted for it. So they need a lawyer. So he's like, my cousin Vinny is a lawyer. Come down. And it goes through. It's a comedy, but it's also has that drama where it's like,
Right.
is he gonna solve the case? Like he's an up and coming lawyer. He didn't really have many cases. So him going up against a better lawyer, it's kind of funny to see, and he doesn't know the right procedures and all this. It's super hilarious, but towards the end, everything works out.
Of course it
Obviously,
does.
of course, it does. Spoiler. If you thought it was going to end terribly, but there's just a lot of great scenes in it where you're like, oh, that's so good when they got witnesses on the stand, and he starts getting better at cross examination
Yeah.
and all this, and you're like, all right.
Starts getting some wins.
I wanna say I almost wanna look it up. I think Ralph Macchio is in it, the Karate
The
Kid.
Karate Kid himself.
Let me see. I wanna
Love
double
Ralph
check. Yeah,
Macchio.
yeah, Ralph Macchio is in there as well. Yeah,
That's awesome.
sweet.
How many you got left, Russ?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I got 4.
Oh,
Should we
we should probably check from you guys.
That's what I was thinking.
And we do have a phone call. Someone left
Ooh,
us a voicemail.
we're gonna hear from Springfield after all.
You guys can call into the show with the phone number 949-682-9277. That's 949-682-WARP. And you can leave us a voicemail about anything, pretty much.
Yeah, whatever you want.
I keep dreaming, dreaming about my dream phone. It's for you.
All right, let's hear this voicemail here.
Hey guys, it's Michael Bennett again. Just wanted to answer a question you guys had about, or at least Russ, you had some old vintage video games. I don't know how far you want to go back, but
Mhm.
I know that the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3 had a game series that was called Fear. Really good horror game. If you're looking for something to play, that's a good one to go for. The other thing is, I had an idea for a episode, and it was top 5 favorite Super Famicom games. I don't know if you guys know much about that system. I actually bought one of the games, and it was a lot of fun. I'm looking to explore more of that collection. Let me know what you guys think, and hopefully you guys are having a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks,
Perfect.
Michael.
Hey, thanks so much for the phone call for sure. Fear. I mean, that would be certainly a good game to dive into for October. We got the spooky season coming up. I was trying to do a few live streams of spooky games. I can't say I've heard of that one or played it. Fear.
Maybe watch a quick YouTube video of it when you get a chance to see if it looks like something you're into.
Right. I'll have to see because he said Xbox 360 and PS3. I do have some issues streaming from my PS3. So it might just have to be Russ plays this on his own time.
There you go.
And enjoys it. Top 5 Super Famicom games. That's cool that you picked that up. I just recently picked up a Famicom. I do not have a Super Famicom, but you can play Super Famicom games on an American SNES.
I know where you can buy one, Russ.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
a guy selling one.
No guy selling one
I think I know somebody.
locally. Oh, you got one?
Yeah, me.
And we'll say you could just break the tabs on your Super Nintendo if you want to put the card in there.
I have 3 Super Famicom games. I have Street Fighter, I have Donkey Kong 1 and Donkey Kong 3.
Right.
So all the Super Famicom games I have are also Super NES.
Super NES ones. Right. I have Chrono Trigger because I had picked it up because a lot of times the Super Famicom games are cheaper than what the Super Nintendo games are. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to play Chrono Trigger on the Super Famicom because it's not translated and it's an
can't read
RPG.
it. Yeah.
But it's definitely one of my favorite games. So I was like, let me pick that up. So I'd have to find what exclusive games are to the Super Famicom. Probably some like Dragon Ball Z games I would be into, or like Gundam style games. I was funny enough. Well, I was just listening to my friend's podcast. That's XVGM. My buddy Mike Levy. They do a podcast with video game music, and he was talking about. They had in the show talking about a Super Famicom game that was a Gundam game that played like Street Fighter, like a fighter game.
Oh, that's sick.
And they said it was one of the best on the systems, but never came out here because Gundam was never that big at that time, essentially. So
I feel like I remember hearing about that.
So who knows? I mean, that'd be something to look into.
Is that? I'm pretty sure Tyler from My Retro Life has a video about that.
About the Gundam fighting game?
I think so, or maybe it was Ultraman.
Possibly.
It was like Ultraman and these other little characters, but it looked really sick.
So, I mean, that would be something I'd love to, dive into, and check out. So maybe a future episode down the road once we get more knowledgeable for it. But appreciate the call. We'll dive into what you guys said. We asked you on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to see what you said about 90s comedy movies.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
All right. First one we got here is Instagram. So obviously I said I have the Wayne's Worlds there. We got Tony Sedini in here. Dumb and Dumber, which we mentioned, yes, was the king of comedies in the 90s. I still quote lines daily from this movie. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What if they shot you in the head? That was the risk we were willing to take.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, that's probably the
most quoted, right?
That's probably the most quotable. So you're telling me there's a chance.
So great. Retroholic 16 says there are so many great 90s comedies. Obviously ones like Ace Ventura, Austin Powers, but my top couple would be American Pie, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Heavyweights.
Oh, hello there. Remember when Mrs. Doubtfire, she's got that pie on her face?
Got the pie on the face because he couldn't have the makeup on. And
my wife sometimes will say, it was a drive-by fruiting.
We got TF Gaming says Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and Mrs. Doubtfire as well.
Yeah, those are good ones. Mrs. Doubtfire, I remember buying that movie for my mom for Mother's Day only because I wanted to see it. And my mom saw right through my BS gift and she said, "You knew I didn't want this. You wanted this." And I was like, "I thought we would like to watch it together."
Yeah.
She called me out, dude. She knew.
Called your bluff.
She knew that I was full of crap. Sorry, Mom. I was a piece of shit. Excuse my language.
All right, over to our Facebook page. You follow us on Facebook. we got Matthew Durkin. Let's see, a criminally underrated 90s comedy is Analyze This, starring Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. They did come out with a sequel called Analyze That.
I don't remember that movie.
Maybe like 10 years ago or something.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah. One of my favorite 90s movies, My Cousin Vinny. A peak performance from Joe Pesci.
I'm gonna have to watch
movie.
that.
It's so good. It's a definitely a classic. Like, if you like Joe Pesci, have to see My Cousin Vinny. Eric Plunk. I'm bringing the Beverleys with the Beverly Hillbillies, 1993, and Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh,
Oh, Chris
wow.
Farley. I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Ninja. I saw
That-
that in theaters. Surprisingly.
Great. That was a good one. Oh, let's see. Michael Bennett gave us a full list here.
Ooh, Michael.
Let's see, can it? Oh, does that open? Can you still see it there? Did that open it
I
up?
see it. Yep.
Okay, perfect. We got Space Invaders,
Yeah, looks like it.
Pure Luck, Oscar, Cool Running. So I Married an Axe Murderer. Airheads was another good one. That has Pauly Shore in it and Brendan Fraser,
I
and I forgot who else.
barely remember that.
Yeah, that one, because they're like musicians and they make a demo tape and they try to get it on the air and they end up taking the radio station like hostage, and
Oh, Lord.
it's a good one. Oh, and Adam Sandler's in it. That's the three. Okay, who else do we got? Baby's Day Out. Leprechaun 3, I guess it counts as a comedy horror. Billy Madison. Another one for heavyweights. Mars Attacks. Down Periscope. And Black Sheep. That was
Yep.
another Chris Farley.
Yeah, Black Sheep. Black Sheep would have been my second choice after Tommy Boy. I like Black Sheep a lot.
Yeah. And then what do we got? Oh, YouTube. So if you guys head over to our YouTube channel, we do have the community page where you can interact with us. Bilbo Baggins. What is he saying?
All the way from the Shire.
So many good picks for this topic. Let's see. I have to, of course, mention Jim Carrey's 1994 trio: The Mask, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and Dumb and Dumber.
See, I'm not a fan of The Mask. I didn't think that movie was very good.
Great special effects. Let's see. But I also want to shout out Tommy Boy and Beverly Hills Ninja. One last one for Sleeper is Mars Attacks. Definitely good. They do have some Mars Attacks stuff at Spirit Halloween if you're into that movie. We got Kid, Ona Friday. Tommy Boy was and still it's one of my favorite movies. I wore that VHS back in the day, just like I did with my Wayne's World.
Like me and Home Alone.
See, that's funny with how us growing up, like we watched all these on VHS, and where you can wear down the tape. Like,
Oh, yeah. VHS and Batman. I bet I watched those two movies ungodly amount of times.
the bad guy Mike says so many good ones to pick from. I was a huge Jim Carrey fan, so I'll say Ace Ventura and of course Dumb and Dumber.
Absolutely.
Pixel Game Squad coming in. Liar Liar and Billy Madison.
I love Liar Liar. That was a great movie.
Another Jim Carrey classic for
Yeah.
sure.
Billy Madison's good, but I think Happy Gilmore's better.
Right. I've seen, both of them around the same time, and I enjoyed Billy Madison. It had some quotable stuff there, but I don't know. I just like Happy Gilmore a lot better.
Happy Gilmore was funnier.
And we got Mike Baum. Give us a few here. Freaked, Screwed.
It's like the
I don't think
sequel.
Maybe. Dead Man on Campus. Billy Madison. Senseless. High School High. That was where I think Kid and Play, I want to say. Three Strikes and Friday.
Oh, yeah, Friday. I saw Next Friday. I didn't see Friday.
Gotcha. So those were what you guys were saying for some top 90s movies for sure.
All right, Russ, how many are we going to match on these last 3, 4?
I forgot what I have on here. I got this. Well, okay, I got I think we'll match at least one.
Okay, we're going to say at least one. Who's up? Me? You
I don't
got
know,
3,
sure.
I got 4. It's probably me.
Okay.
So up next, a movie you guys mentioned a lot, Ace Ventura.
Yep, that was on my list. Yep,
I
1994.
remember seeing that movie when I was visiting my sister in a little town just outside of Myrtle Beach.
Mhm.
And there were these 2 boys that I met at her church named Zach and Josh Dukes. Shout out to you guys if you're Well, if you ever happen to see this, probably won't. But I went to their house and we watched it. And I remember my buddy Zach would just thought it was like the funniest movie ever, and I just died that whole movie. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I even really enjoyed Ace Ventura 2. I did not put that on this list, but I thought they were both pretty good, especially
Right.
when he comes out of the rhino's butt. I thought that was so funny.
Classic scene. For
Or when
sure.
he's shaking in that Jeep, and then you look over and the other guy's just so still because they're riding on a paved road.
It's
What
like
are you doing?
so many good parts in it. A lot of it too. I end up getting mixed up on which one's which when I'm thinking of scenes and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, the first one was certainly classic for sure.
yeah,
Even the opening scene with him being like a UPS driver, right?
yeah,
And he's got the package and he's going
yeah,
through, throwing it
yeah.
all around.
Yep.
Um, yeah, lots of quotes in it. Jim Carrey, such a good like physical actor,
Physical actor. Yep.
like puts his all in it. And I
Finkel
even
is
did
Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. He's like curled down and like in the shower, like
with the
trying
showers.
to trying to clean himself from the shame.
um, yeah. I dressed up as him once for Halloween.
Oh, it's
What's
amazing.
funny enough, I got a Jimmy Neutron plastic wig because he
Oh,
has
that
that
looks just
like,
like the hair. It's the
and I was like,
same.
that's kind of like, I just got a Hawaiian shirt. And then
That's
I
so
made a little
funny.
like tag that said Ace Ventura, not just the walk, whatever. Yeah, it's a classic one. I'm sure everyone's seen it for sure.
I
Definitely
love
check
it.
out
I
Ace
love it at
Ventura.
the end when he's like ripping all the clothes off of the dude, trying to like prove he's a woman, or
Oh,
trying to
right.
prove the woman's a man.
Yes.
And every time he rips off another article of clothing, it just like almost disproves until you get to the very end.
Right.
I won't
That's
spoil it.
some good one for sure. Yeah, so that was on my list. Um, I did put Friday on my list, 1995. What's funny is I had watched this, like my mom watched it and she had a good time with it.
That's hilarious. Russ's mom
So if you
watching
don't know
Friday.
the premise of Friday is it's takes place like in the hood,
Yep.
just following a bunch of boys hanging out and kind of stuff goes down, I guess essentially. Uh and it's just hilarious. They have Devo coming out who's like the uh the bully of the
Yeah.
town or whatever. Like, stealing stuff from them. Uh there's so many good scenes in it. I mean, it's definitely like I think it's an R rating on it for sure. There's a lot of like drug use, foul language, and all this.
Yeah.
So I can't go too much into detail on this podcast of some of the
Like I said, I saw
comedy
Next
stuff.
Friday. I thought Next Friday was pretty funny, but I'm sure, like we were talking about earlier, I didn't get some of the references back to Friday.
Right. Friday definitely was good. They did do Friday after next.
Yeah.
Like they're stretching it.
Yeah.
For
That's
sure.
now you're just getting out there.
But what's his name was it? Was Ice
Ice
Cube
Cube?
in it? Ice Cube, yeah. Trying to think if anyone else stood out in there, but I thought it was funny that my mom liked it.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So check out Friday. It's definitely a 90s comedy for sure.
There you go. All right. We're going back to is Ben Stiller in this movie? All right, let's just say the movie. Something About Mary.
That almost made the list for me. Yes.
Is that the one with the bean? How'd you get the beans above the Franks? Isn't that one? Franken Bean.
I think yeah, because that's her brother, right?
Yeah.
What's her name in the movie? I mean, obviously the scene everyone remembers is her with her hair.
So her name's Mary.
Mary. Well, I was trying to think of the actress.
Oh, Cameron Diaz, who's now
Cameron
married to
Diaz.
one of the Benji or Joel Madden from Good Charlotte,
Oh, that's right.
which is crazy.
Yeah, Ben Stiller. He had a ton of movies too in the 90s that were maybe not a ton.
More, I would
Maybe it
say,
was more 2000.
more early 2000s.
Right. Yeah, so it's like towards the later there.
Yeah,
But he had this one here for sure.
yeah. This one was hilarious. I
Date
mean,
movie. He's trying to go out on this date, nervous.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember you gotta clean the pipes before you go on the date.
Right. So I said that's
The hair
the
gel.
classic
Oh,
scene.
hair
I think
gel.
everyone's gonna. Oh, I needed some. It's out his ear.
Yeah, gross. He's looking for it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, mercy.
Something About Mary.
You might have to do some editing on this cast, Russ.
Oh Lord, that's all I need. More editing. So my last one I put on there. I'm surprised this didn't make your list. 1990, Home Alone.
I got 2 more, dude.
Oh, you got 2 more. So Home Alone's on my list.
We have a match.
We have a match. There we go.
Well, I won't show it yet because I don't want to spoil the last one. But
Okay.
I'll hold my list up so you can see it at the end.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a Christmas movie, but it is a comedy movie. Look at that. Oh, you got your Home Alone poster right there.
Yeah, of course, Home Alone made the list. It's my favorite movie of all time.
So, I mean, again, Joe Pesci's in this one.
Yeah.
So if you didn't see My Cousin Vinny, I'm sure you saw Home Alone. Not much more you can say about it. Little Kevin McAllister sets up traps, and it's hilarious.
I remember I saw it around that Thanksgiving time. I was in Myrtle Beach with my family, visiting family, and we were working on our house, getting ready to sell it, I think. And the neighbor kids were like, "Hey, we're gonna go see a movie tonight. You want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I went with them to go see it. And I just remember the last like 20 minutes of the movie where all this stuff in the house is going on. I had to, I thought I was gonna pee my pants. It was like, to me, that was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen up to that point in my life.
Okay.
I mean, I was only 8, so you know. Oh, the thing too is, Russ, like you and I were about the perfect age to relate to Kevin.
Right.
You know,
Where you're like, oh, it's kind of scary to be left home alone.
right?
Like, what if someone comes in? What would I do? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe have that mentality of like, oh, I could build stuff. Like, I like building.
Well,
whatever.
like it was just amazing how brave the kid was, you know. Because as a kid, I was terrified of him getting kidnapped because I thought I almost got kidnapped a couple times. I'll tell that story later.
Stranger danger.
Yeah, I had stranger. Well, my mom watched Unsolved Mysteries like all the time, so I was afraid of getting kidnapped. Like I remember walking in the mall, and I would walk with my head down all the time because I didn't want to look anybody in the eye. I was really like insecure. I'll tell the story real quick. One time I was sitting on my front porch, and we lived in front of a church parking lot, and this lady pulled up to the church parking lot and saw me playing on the front porch, and she looked out her window and like did like this, and I looked at her and I went, I shook my head no. And she waved at me again. I said no, and I ran to my house. And she peeled out of that church parking lot. I swear, that lady was trying to get me. There'd be no NES addict if I was stupid and walked over there.
What if she pulled out some NES games?
She'd have had a better chance then.
I know.
Or some Ninja Turtles.
They were like candy. Kids don't want candy.
No,
it should have been video games if you want to steal kids.
No, exactly. Anyway, thank God I didn't go. But Perfect. But yeah, I was terrified of aliens and kidnapping.
So watching him set up all these traps, you're like, that's a good idea.
So now I'm just afraid of aliens. Can't trap them, guys. There's no stopping them.
Did you see the ones in Mexico?
Yeah.
That they.
Yeah. I'm not going to Mexico anymore.
Anyways.
All right, you ready for my last one? Sorry for the rant.
Drum roll, please.
All right. Ready. The last one is What About Bob?
Okay.
With Bill Murray. So the first time I ever saw this movie, I remember I was at my aunt's house in Columbus, Ohio, and she had cable TV, so I loved it whenever I visited anybody with cable because we did not have cable.
Oh, okay.
And it just happened to come on, and I just started watching it because it was what was on. And I just remember thinking it was so freaking funny. You know, like he was such an idiot, but I don't know.
I know I've seen it before. I've seen it at least once.
Okay, so the premise is Bob is just this dude, but he has like a lot of like psychological, mental, social, emotional problems where he like is afraid to leave his house. And he pretends he has Tourette's because if he fakes, he doesn't really have it. And he can't breathe and all this stuff. So he's going to see this psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is going on vacation. But he feels like he can't like live his life without this specific psychiatrist. So he figures out where he's on vacation, shows up at his house.
Oh, that's right.
His whole family like loves Bob, but he's like driving the psychiatrist like insane, and it makes the psychiatrist look crazy, and he ends up blowing up his house and all kind of crazy stuff. It's a great movie,
and it's like early Bill Murray stuff too. So like probably Caddyshack probably came out
like Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, yeah.
You know, probably post Ghostbusters.
Right, right. So still up and coming. So yeah, definitely a good one for sure. What about Bob? Yeah, when I was going through the list, there was a lot on there. I wanted to add a lot of Adam Sandler or I can't even see your list. You got it's too bright.
Oh, it's not gonna show,
Nope,
is it?
too bright. Can't
Wonder if I
see Jay's list to confirm.
What if I turn it down?
Nope, now I just see a reflection.
Oh,
You can kind of see it.
dang
We
it. All
believe
right,
you.
whatever.
Yeah, certainly a lot of comedy movies came out in the 90s that were fantastic. So it's hard to get a top 10 list going.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to make a lot of decisions. My original plan was not to have more than one Jim Carrey movie on there, but I had to go with Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura. They were both
Right, right,
so he's the only one out of all those big comedians that got double duty there.
right. Yeah, for sure. Boy, and then I guess, well, no, on mine I got My Cousin Vinny and Home Alone, so we got a
Okay,
double
there you
duty
go.
but yeah, good stuff. Maybe we could do a different decade. We could do early 2000s
Yeah,
comedies for sure. So many good like early ones came out.
yeah.
That's why I said a lot of them overlap where I'm thinking of other like Ben Stiller movies and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh,
Ben
that's early.
Stiller was like the king of the early 2000s.
Could almost just do top 10 Ben Stiller movies.
Dude, we should. I love Ben Stiller movies. Dude, so this blew my mind, okay? And what are
Okay.
the chances? There is a Ben Stiller movie. At the end of the movie, he's in this alleyway. Actually, it might be Meet the Parents. I can't remember which one. But you can see in the background at this club that's behind him posters for the band Boxcar Racer.
Really?
So what makes that so interesting is Boxcar Racer only did one tour ever
Yeah. Right.
with H2O and the Used, and I saw him in Atlanta. Um, so I thought that when we're watching this movie, we're in the theaters, so it's on this big screen. I just remember whoever was with me, I was like, "Look, it's Boxcar Racer! It's Boxcar Racer!" They're like, "Shut up, Jay! We're trying to watch the movie." No, it's Boxcar Racer! It's crazy, Losing
I
my
went to
mind.
that tour too, so I was happy, privileged I got to check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. That was a blessing.
Yeah, pretty neat for sure. I like those little like Easter egg things there. I was gonna another one I was thinking one of the Jim Carrey's movies. I think it was in Me, Myself, and Irene.
Okay,
I want to say so he was there's a scene
that's a
where
really funny movie too, by the way.
there's like a fire somewhere and
Okay.
he's like passing by the camera and if you look in the background there's a character that Jim Carrey played when he was on In Living Color that was a fireman.
Fire Marshal Bill.
Right, Fire Marshal Bill. And so he's in the background of a Jim Carrey movie. Like, so you're like,
Let me tell you something. He had no lips because his lips burn off.
so,
Oh, and the name of that movie that I'm trying to think of is Along Came Polly.
oh yeah. That's with, doesn't that have,
Jennifer Aniston.
and what's his name from How I Met Your Mother? Uh,
I don't know, the blonde guy.
no, they're like the short haired, whatever guy.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I have to Google
This
it.
dude right here.
Let's see. No,
Okay, then I don't know who you're talking about.
unless he's not in this one. Along Came Polly.
Along Came Polly's hilarious though.
Oh, maybe he's not in this one. Maybe I was thinking of someone else there. Ben Stiller's in there. Because this is what when they go on vacation.
Yeah, so
And
he gets married, he goes on vacation, and his wife cheats on him with that naked surfer guy. No,
right.
scuba. No scuba for you, Dubin?
Oh,
He's
I'm
like, nah, why don't
confusing it.
you guys go do scuba, and so while they're scuba diving and then they're hooking up, he's like getting this thing already, their room already, making it just right, and then he comes back and finds them, you know, in the
I
heat of
was
passion.
I was confusing. So 2008, Forgetting Sarah Marshall with Jason
Oh,
Segel.
yeah, that movie's okay.
Because that was like they go on like a vacation where they end up breaking up and like switching partner or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
similar in that. But yes, Along Came Polly. That was good too.
Along Came
That was good.
Polly's where like eats that spicy food and then like gets diarrhea, and she doesn't have like any toilet paper, so he uses her Lutha, and he's like plunging the toilet with it. And he's been in the bathroom forever, and she like finally it's like, all right, I'm gonna go in and help him, and he's just like standing there like a caveman with like the plunger in his hand, you know.
I think
It's
that's got to be one of our top 10 Ben Stiller movies
dude,
coming
that
coming in
movie's
future episodes.
hilarious. Yeah, we gotta talk about those.
All right, guys. Hey, we appreciate you watching. I do want to give a quick shout out to all our Patreon. You can support the show over at patreon.com/Russ Lyman. We got Dan and Nicole's Treasures Untold, Joe Sheevy, Trace Living Good, Samantha Chang, Rodney Torres, and Retroholic 16. And please call into the show if you want. 949-682-9277. You can catch new episodes every Saturday and catch Warp Pipe Wednesdays every Wednesday for new episodes. 2 episodes a week. Can't get better than that, right?
Can't.
Double down.
It's impossible. 3's too many.
Yeah. Be killing me. All right, guys. Appreciate you listening and watching. As always, I'm Russ Lyman. Keep your world fun bit by bit.